Hey, everybody. Marcus C. Williams here. And I appreciate you all and I love you all. If you're watching us online, please hit like, share, and be sure to follow. Okay. And subscribe. Now, we've got a lot of stuff going on across the country right now. And it's rather alarming, to be honest. I'm highly concerned about what's going on in places like Minnesota and Minneapolis and stuff like that. We see this rise of, I don't know what you would call it, impassioned level of activity, right? A whole bunch of people going out, gallivanting, doing a whole bunch of stuff that they really don't have any business doing. We saw just last week this lady, Renee, whatever her name was, get shot when she was trying to run over ice. Like, what are we doing here? Like, is that what we're doing? And people say, oh, well, she wasn't trying to run them over or whatever the case is. It's neither here nor there. The fact of the matter is two things. She was there. She didn't have no business being there. She was interfering with an investigation. And then her girlfriend or partner, whatever you want to call her, egged her on to hit this guy with the car and to try to run away and run over people. Now, this is a problem because we've seen the ICE agents get hit by many cars over this last year, and it's very, very problematic. It's a tool, which is a car. The car is a tool which is continually being used to harm ICE agents and other police officers. We've seen them even hit other police officers here in Monroe County. So this is something that we need to be really paying attention to. The level of interaction by these people that are so-called opposing what's going on is continuing to escalate more and more and more. It's becoming more hyperbolic. It's becoming more wild. It's becoming more violent. And that's the end goal, you guys. These people, whether they know it or not, they're being used as pawns by individuals behind the scenes. You might say, well, why? What are they using them for? Because, so many people don't even see and notice that they're being used. The whole goal with these people is to use them to create a situation to usher in all types of instability, but more than just the instability that these people's wild actions are making, it's also going to increase more militarization of the police. It's going to push towards federal policing. And I don't even know why more people don't see what's going on. These people out here say, oh, I don't like fascism or anything like that. These people that say that they don't want fascism are the exact same people that want big government. Make it make sense. They're fascists and they don't even know it. They're saying, oh, I support socialism. Oh, I support communism. Oh, I support this. Down with tyranny and oppression and all of this stuff. They're the ones creating the circumstances in which the federal government will be able to step in and empower itself with larger policing presence, with more serious levels of action. And we're getting there very quickly. If you saw what happened in Minnesota today, Jake Lang, who is an instigator out there, he pretends to be Christian, but he's not Christian. He's actually a secular Jew, which is a whole nother situation. But he's cosplaying as Christian, burning Qurans, putting bacon in Qurans, all types of nonsense. Well, why would you do that, right? Because it's incendiary, right? It makes people upset. It makes people have feelings and emotions. It emboldens people to do stuff on both sides, whether they agree or whether they disagree. It makes people very, very upset, but it also makes them very hyperbolic, right? Very unstable because you don't know what the next step will be because everything's always adding up the ante, up the ante, up the ante. Now here we are at this place where this clown is out there doing whatever he's doing in Minnesota, acting a fool like he usually is, because that's what Jake Lang does. And they mobbed him. And allegedly he got stabbed, but his plate carrier that he had on black the knife. I don't know if that's true or it's not true, but the thing is we don't know that it's not true. And based on the way that these people have been behaving, it's highly probable to be true. Look at, they destroyed that that federal agent's truck the other day, and they snatched a high-powered rifle out of there, right? And one of the guys that was in the whole situation, starting off the nonsense, was a known gang member with a long rap sheet longer than an elephant's trunk. Can we have a conversation about that? Nobody wants to have these conversations. Clearly, whether you believe these things are organic or not, there are people that are embedding themselves in these groups to cause problems, and nobody in those groups is checking these fools. And these fools that are in these groups encourage these other individuals that otherwise would not to be more aggressive, to be more insightful, to be more angstful, to cause more problems. And this is going to usher in higher levels of policing. We've heard the people on the news channels say, well, will Trump invoke the Insurrection Act? Well, Trump hasn't said anything about the Insurrection Act. So where is that coming from? Who's saying that? Nobody on the right is saying that. So it must be some people on the left that are pushing it, or some people unforeseen behind the scenes that are pulling these strings and saying somebody should push that and we should start getting it out there so it's a topic that's at the front of mind so that it actually might be used. And these are the things that we need to talk about, because this whole situation is being manipulated. Because the president wasn't talking about the Insurrection Act. So all of a sudden, news, CNN, CNBC, all of them crazy channels, all of them are talking about the Insurrection Act. They keep asking questions about the Insurrection Act. And they keep saying, well, when are you going to invoke it? Are you going to invoke it? Are you going to do this? Are you going to do that? Because they're trying to put that out there in people's mind. They want the Insurrection Act to be invoked. One, because it'll drive numbers of viewers to watch their programs, which is a whole nother ridiculous nonsense. But also because the people behind the scenes that are pulling the strings want the Insurrection Act to be put in place. And I'm going to tell you exactly the next steps that are most likely to come. Follow me on this one, and please hit the share button, hit the like button. Now, as we have this conversation, a couple things are going to happen moving forward, very quick in succession when this stuff really starts to kick off. Did you see what happened in Venezuela? And did you hear the security guard that was guarding Maduro, one of the people guarding Maduro, talking about the U.S. came in there using all types of crazy technology and stuff like that they had never had. The people just fell down sick and stuff like that, and they couldn't move and they couldn't do anything. Okay, now those types of weapons, who knows what they use? But let me tell you what type of weapons that they're likely to use on the crowds and these people that are out there now that are up and coming. Microwave weapons, area dispersal units, these things that they call less lethal. Acoustic devices, auditory devices, whether they make you sick or whether they make you not be able to stand in a place because it feels like your ears or your brain are exploding. So these are the next type of things that are going to be deployed to these types of areas. And this is just the federal government creating bigger armaments and a more federalized type of policing. And who's pushing this nonsense? These people on the left that say that they're anti-fascist, these people on the left that say that they don't want the government to be jackboots, that say that they don't want the government to be tyrants, but every single move that they make encourages more higher levels of action from the federal government. So you have to ask yourself, is this really organic? Who is pushing this? I'm telling you now, this is not just a bunch of crazies running around outside. It's not. There are people that are embedded in there. This is why you see the FBI and DHS doing investigations into who's funding all of these protests and stuff like that. Allegedly, right? Allegedly, they're doing investigations. I'd be under the impression that they're legitimately doing investigations. Now, your question is as good as mine. Would they ever actually lock somebody up or put somebody in prison over it? No, they wouldn't. They don't put anybody in prison because that's the way that the government works. Okay. None of the people that are really behind the scenes doing any of the things that we really don't like are in prison. None of the COVID tyrants, none of the people who did the spying on the churches, none of the people who were acting a fool during January 6th that did all of the stuff behind the scenes and pulled all of the stuff. None of the people from Crossfire Hurricane, nobody is in jail. Nobody on the Epstein list is in jail. None of these people. Can we talk about that? So when they tell me that the government is investigating these clowns that are out here paying for these different, whatever you want to call it, accoutrements that are going on with these people that are rioting, I don't have any faith that the government is going to lock anybody up. I don't have any faith that the government is going to put anybody in prison because they never do. And they're like, oh, well, just wait. People are going to go to prison. Nobody's going to prison. Look what happened in Trump's first term. What did he promise us? Ran a whole campaign on lock her up, right? And what did he say when he got into office? He said, oh, well, I'm not going to lock her up because it would look bad to lock up the wife of a former president. But you said that you were going to lock her up, right? Now, this is a problem because we see all of what's happened and transpired. Nobody's going to jail. The DOJ isn't prosecuting anybody on any level of anything. Not any severity. You know, give us something. Give us somebody. Put somebody in jail. So when they tell me that they're going to investigate all of these people that are funding these different actions across the nation, I don't believe it. I have zero faith in the federal government when it comes to that. And I don't care about anybody telling me, oh, just wait, stuff is coming. Stop promising me help that'll never come. That's a military warfare tactic. Go look it up. It's called the promise of help that will not come. That's a warfare tactic. Okay, don't run no psyop on me. Okay, tell me, oh, they're going to lock somebody up. Nobody's getting locked up. I'm not stupid. I've been an American my whole life. My whole family since before this country has been American. You're not about to play me like I'm stupid. And that's what they think. They think that you're stupid because what's happening is we have the right and we have the left. But the right and the left is an illusion. The people that are in power behind the government, they don't care about the right or the left. They care about power. They care about influence. They care about money. That's why when you see things like Congress, when you're not distracted by the president, because they always use the presidents to distract you, but it's really Congress that's the largest issue. They're the ones who pass the laws. They're the ones who do the budget. And they never really want to do anything. I saw Mike Allen the other day asking, well, why did 81 Democrats vote for the legislation to fund the National Endowment for Democracy? What's going on with that? Why would you do that? Like, these people are funding all of these crazy groups out here acting a fool. And we know that. Why would you do that? Tim Burchett, another congressman, said, you know, they don't want to do anything but like name libraries and rename post offices. Whenever it comes down to real work, they don't want to do anything. Because at the end of the day, nobody wants to tip the apple cart. Nobody really wants to do anything. So I'm trying to tell you now, be aware of what's going on in Minnesota and what's going on in the rest of the country. Because as they had that insanity go on over there today, we have to remember that the mayor over there in Minneapolis got up on the TV and said with the police chief next to him that the police should stand up to ICE and stop them. And the police chief had a face like, excuse me? Like, have you lost your cotton picking mind? You know, and this is what's going on. This is what these elected officials, so-called elected officials, are doing over there. They're pushing not just division. Like, I can't emphasize this enough. It's not just division. They're purposefully enabling and empowering people to create disturbances that will cause calamitous action in our nation. That's the direction that we're going. It's about to get real raw. And we saw them mobbing people. We saw them going to coffee shops, demanding that tech workers leave because they think that they're ICE. Are you stupid? Like, what are you doing? They're pushing and checking cameramen's cars and saying, oh, well, you look like ICE or whatever the case is. Who are they? They're not the police. Why is this being enabled to happen? Ask yourself, people, why are they enabling these things to happen? They're literally just letting it happen. That should be an alert to you. That should let you know that stuff that is going on behind the scenes is not all that it seems. Then here in Rochester today, where I live, they had all of these people have empty rally, right? So they were in the Alphabet neighborhood marching for everything from women's liberty to save the muskrats or whatever the heck it was, 80 different organizations all protesting something different. Like, really? Like, do you not see that you're being manipulated? Like, the march wasn't even for one thing. It's everybody for their own free stuff that they want. Save the muskrats, stop nukes, stop this, save that. Like, are you serious? Like, you don't understand that what's happening is they're trying to co-aggregate all of these different groups for these different causes, which are considered to be left on the left, and get them together so that they can use them for hyper-aggressive action. And now they've got these crazy people in Philly talking about, I believe it's Philly, correct me if I'm wrong, where they got this ridiculous Puerto Rican dude that's talking about he's a Black Panther, okay? Talking about, oh, well, let's pop ice in the chest and all of this and all of that. If they came up to me, I'd do this, all of it. What you gonna do? Shut up. These people are paid actors. They're not just paid actors, right? Some people are out here doing crazy stuff for clicks, right? For notoriety, right? So that they can build their own stuff up. This is very important and notable to understand. Somebody said, who am I? My name is right here. I am Marcus C. Williams. That's who I am. Hello. How are you? Who's this? Robbie, I see you. Thank you, Robbie. Please subscribe. But as we have this conversation about what's going on, these people are being manipulated to high levels of action. And they got these people that are stepping out front to be players that are saying, oh, well, down with ICE. We should go after ICE. We should do this. We should do that. Why? And they mask it saying, oh, well, this is under the guise of tyranny. We're fighting tyranny. You're not fighting tyranny. You're creating problems for our nation. You're creating instability. You're not standing up peacefully. You're not standing up and doing what's right. You're standing up and causing problems. You're blocking traffic, preventing people from getting to their homes, from preventing people from getting to their places of work because you're so self-righteous that you're so much better than everybody. Make it make sense, y'all. These people are out of their gourds. And then they've got all of these people. They're like, oh, well, I should take their mask. Since COVID, y'all never took y'all mask off. Okay? And y'all masks are the same thing as Klan hoods. Y'all out there wearing all of these black outfits and stuff like that and black ski masks and stuff like that, looking like cornermen or looking like stick-up boys. Out here running around here like banditos. Acting a raw riot. And it's a serious problem. And then they expect us as average citizens to be like, oh, okay, I see what's going on, and I'm concerned and I'm scared and stuff like that because that's what they want you to be. They want you to be concerned. They want you to be scared. They want you to be a little bit upset, but not enough to get out and go do something. It's been said that the whole game is to create a civil war. It's not going to be a civil war over this because I guarantee you nobody on the right has enough gumption or unification strategy to pull off something to quell all of these individuals. And I need you to be very cognizant because look at where it's happening. Like in New York, like we couldn't do anything here if we want to. And trust me, I think a lot of these people should be given a long walk off a short pier. So I'm telling you right now, Don't look at this like, oh, well, it's going to be a civil war. These are these concepts that they push into your mind, into your psyche. All of it is a psyop. And it's all for the goal of giving the federal government more power. Here's the deal, though. It's not like they want to say, oh, it's Trump. It's not. It's a collective of individuals that are behind the scene, that are extremely wealthy, that are technocrats, that are pulling all the strings. You know, you've got the people, the European powers that are involved in it. You've got the Persian powers that are involved with it. You've got rich and powerful people from all across the world that are involved with it. And you've got essentially two kind of sort of factions, but they're both using the same chaos to their own advantage. You've got the people that are in power that are actually out front, like elected officials and stuff like that on the top levels and stuff like that, that want to secure the bureaucracy. You'll hear this from the left all the time. They don't want you to fire anybody in the federal government. They don't want you to shrink the government. Why not? Then you got people on the so-called right that want to expand surveillance technology and stuff like that. Like what? Like that's not something that comes from the right. Where would that come from? You know, and this is a serious issue. But as we see this, don't shrink the government people and other people, expand surveillance people, these are things that we're not talking about. So as these people are out here acting a raw riot and an absolute fool, and the police are told to stand down and not to do anything, that means that chaos will ensue. They're opening it up for it to be more violence, for it to be more problems, because all they're looking for is one good event, one good big issue. That's it. That's all they need. They tried to make something out of this Renee Good nonsense, which I'm trying to figure out how her name was actually good, because that in itself sounds like a psyop to me. You know, like that's weird. None of that makes much sense. But the fact of the matter is, that wasn't strong enough. So now they got some crazy Puerto Rican coming out talking about, oh, let's pop ICE, let's clip ICE, let's do this. You got all these people online saying if you see an ICE officer, you should put them on their back and all of this stuff. Y'all know that what I'm saying is me paraphrasing what they actually are saying. But it's a serious problem. It's a very serious problem. And I'm telling you right now, what's going to happen is they're going to use this as the point to increase more policing on the federal level, because they don't have another choice. This is what all of this is leading up to. So if these people really didn't want fascism, if they really didn't want bigger government, and if they really didn't want more government control, they wouldn't be behaving like this. But they're so warped in the head because they've been told that what they're doing is right and righteous. And it's not. It's not. They've been manipulated. And I know people that are conservative or on the right will say, oh, well, they're dum-dums, or they're this, or they're that, or they're this. Maybe they're all of those things. But more so than anything, they're being manipulated and they don't see it. So we have to see it and we have to understand, because the same psyop that's being run on them is the same psyop that's being run on us, just in a different manner. Because you look at them and you say, oh, well, look at these crackpots and these ninnies and stuff like that. Yeah, I see them. But it's not them that are the problem. It's the people behind them that are pushing it forward. You know, you used to have people like George Soros or Klaus Schwab that we talk about and say, oh, well, they're orchestrating these types of things and stuff like that. I haven't heard anything about any head type of person orchestrating any of this. But we know that they are. Not specifically them, but other people behind the scenes. And why are they doing that, you guys? Ask yourself, why are they doing that? Because if they can create instability in our society, that means that we need bigger government. If we need bigger government, that means that the boot of the government is going to get bigger. And they're already pushing things like Palantir and Elon Musk and the rest of his buddies, because Elon Musk is in bed with Larry Ellison, is in bed with what's the other guy? The guy from Palantir. I can see his face, but I can't remember his name right now. Him and all these other people that used to be part of the PayPal mafia. Go look that up. So all of these people are all involved in all of this. Krebs, I think, is that guy that owns Palantir. But all of these people don't want anything good for us because they are rich billionaires that only care about themselves. We're way below them. We're way below them. They don't care. They don't know what average everyday people issues are. They couldn't even be bothered. We've lucked out a little bit with the president because he believes that he is the US, that the US represents him. That's his brand. Like Trump is Trump's brand, America, the United States of America is Trump's brand. So we've kind of lucked out a little bit. Thank God. We've got a little bit of a reprieve because of him, but not a lot because the people are still, like they say, oh, drain the swamp. All of those people are still in there. The Democrats are screaming now, oh, well, Trump hasn't been able to do anything. He hasn't fixed any of these issues. But every single thing that Trump has tried to do since he's been in office, the Democrats have fought him tooth and nail. Every single thing that he has done, the Democrats have fought him on. And then they're like, oh, well, he hasn't fixed the gas prices. He hasn't fixed the egg prices. He hasn't fixed this. First of all, those are all manipulations and lies. It's not true. Gas is down all across the country. Energy costs are down all across the country. Where aren't they down? In blue states. Well, who's in control of blue states? The Democrats. Well, why aren't the energy prices and the food prices down in those states? Because of policies in those states. It's got nothing that the president controls. Trump can't do anything about the terrible policies that they have in New York State for energy. I wish he could. He can't. Okay, he can't do anything about the gas prices in California when Governor Newsom and the what do you call it, the state house in California, they've put all of these ridiculous extra costs on oil and gas. And now I believe it might have been, I believe it's Shell. I'm not 100% sure, but one of the big gas company is pulling out of there. And that just happened like a week ago. So we need to have these serious conversations because all of this is tying in together. Okay. All of this is leading us into a point where if you're not familiar right now, I'm going to clue you in on this. I need you to go look up 15-minute cities. Please go look up 15-minute cities. So when you see these pushes in these different cities for these things they call traffic calming or traffic easing or high density housing or affordable housing, it's not about any of that. It's about 15-minute cities. Please go look that up. I'm not going to dive into that. But essentially, they're open air prisons. That's why they're cutting up the roads and making the roads more difficult to travel. Okay, that's why they're making it go from 4 lanes to 2 lanes. It's choke points. The whole goal at the end of the day is to increasingly make it more difficult for you to live independent of the power structure, which is the government at this time. Now, it could be in the near future, the country breaks up into different parts of segments and sections. I don't know. Maybe it's run by the UN. Maybe it's run by private corporations. It doesn't really matter. The point is that the driving force behind all of this is a greater consolidation of power. And we need to be attentive to that point. We got to understand that this stuff is way more serious than it looks like. It's not just a couple of people out there protesting, right? Because what's going to happen next? I'm going to tell you right now, mark my words, okay? Mark my words, write this down, clip this, whatever the case is. Watch this. This is what's going to happen. Moving forward, as these people outside are acting up more and more and doing higher levels of activity, they're going to say, oh no, we can't have any of this. We need a higher level reaction. Maybe they input the Insurrection Act. Maybe they don't. Maybe they call in the National Guard. Maybe they don't. But what they what they will do is they're going to deploy these less than lethal options. And they're going to say, oh, well, it's okay because it's not really hurting anybody. But once they start to use those things will never go away. They're going to use high-powered microwave weapons on people, okay, to disperse crowds. They already have them for area denial, there's another word, area thing, but basically it makes people want to run away because it makes their skin feel like it's bugs crawling under them or it's boiling underneath. Or they've got these acoustic things where they make these noises that make it feel like your head is exploding or your eardrums are leaking. And these are the type of things that they're going to deploy. I doubt that they deploy water cannons or anything like that. I doubt that maybe in the first volley they might deploy some rubber bullets. But the only reason why they would deploy rubber bullets, and I need you to be attentive to this point, the only reason why they would ever use rubber bullets or anything like that is because it's a game behind that. Rubber bullets would only increase the problems. So if they were smart, they wouldn't do that. But if there were bad people at the helm that were pushing that concept that is good, then it will happen. And that'll show you that there is manipulation amongst the ranks. And there is still a move of the deep state internally. But at the end of the day, all of this ties in together. All of the people on the one hand and on the other hand want the same thing. They want us to be disempowered as the populace. They want to take away our rights. They want to take away our liberties. They want to take away our freedoms. Because they see now that people are more likely to unite. People are more likely to stand up. This is why, and it hasn't happened on the left yet, but it's already happened on the right, where they've created a situation like with January 6th, where nobody was even really doing anything, where now people are scared to stand up at all because they're like, oh, well, we'll be in prison for 4 years and they're going to put us in confinement in spaces and stuff like that. Yeah, that is a very big concern on a lot of people's behalf. If there was ever a chance to do anything or anything, it's past. We're long past that, and this is the problem. And what's happened? They've divided us more and more and more. And they can't find anything to unite us for. They try to unite all the crazy people on the left, like I said here in Rochester, for the save the cats from trees and, the lock the sun and all of this other nonsense. I don't know. Everybody was standing up for some different thing. But essentially the concept was all of those were left-wing causes today that they stood up for in my city. But they didn't have one focal point, one unifying theme or anything. It was like 99 different issues. Why is that? Because they're trying to use them together to create more chaos. And we have to be very attentive to these points. I'm very concerned, you guys, and you should be too. I encourage you, share this video, like it, comment. But we have to have these important conversations, and we've got to get this message out there. What they're doing is completely and intentionally to empower the federal government. And many people on the left don't see it because they think that they're fighting fascism. Look at me fighting fascism. You're not. You're creating exactly the grounds for the situation that you say that you don't want. You say you don't want government of federal policing, but that's what you're driving to from your terrible behavior. And it's going to start with those type of area denial weapons and microwave weapons being used to disperse crowds in places like Minnesota and stuff like that. And they're going to use that, or they'll use some sort of an accident to kick off more issues all across the nation. That's the goal, to create more instability. And you've got the people that are in power behind the scenes. You've got the global elite. You've got the stateside elite. You've got China, and all of these other factors that are working together to create destabilization and problems in our country. We have to wake up. And I wish I could give you guys some more encouraging words than just be mindful and pray. But right now, all we can do is pray. We're past the point where a lot can be done. But if we can encourage others to see what is going on, we might just be able to stave off the worst of it. Just maybe. I'll catch you guys later. Remember, stand up, speak up, and don't shut up. Be blessed and be well.